And then Griff said it popped right out. Welcome everyone to the Snap UK podcast, week 5. We're down to 3 again. Myself, Johnny Farrow, Gary.
It's got a lot less bald in here.
A lot less bald. Yeah,
there's enough
more
weight
hair,
this week, but mainly because of the hair.
Yeah, absolutely. No Paul this week. He's got something stuck in his mouth and has to take the night off. And Griff is on his deathbed after an innocuous incident with a horse. So we're going to start off with the big news of the week. We have had our first firing.
Did anyone have that as a prediction, John?
I don't think we did we?
Do you know what? I don't think anyone did. I'm gonna just.
I had Sirianni.
I had Dennis Allen, I think.
I had Sirianni.
Someone have Stefanski?
Stefanski would have been a good shout. But anyway, Robert Saleh's gone from the Jets.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think the timing is the biggest shock because it doesn't make any sense, even to the extent of, after playing the game on Sunday, they fly home, he does a press conference Monday, and then they sack him on Tuesday.
Yeah, and mental. Yeah,
Griff wrote us some notes. He said, Jets had to make changes. The team has been poor for a long time. The division is there for the taking, it's weakest for years. The second one I'd heard, Saleh was apparently set to fire Hackett, which would upset Rodgers, which would make sense because the defense isn't the problem on the Jets team. It's the offense.
Yep.
You can't blame Saleh for Rodgers throwing 3 interceptions on Sunday. You can't blame Saleh for Rodgers not firing up an offense against what is a mediocre or at least, a young Broncos team the week before. The defense is one of the best in the league, bar the pick 6 on Sunday. I don't think they've given away more than 17 points this year, which is phenomenal.
Look, I think when you're the head coach, aren't you?
Yeah, that is fair.
And unless you act really decisively and really quickly, then you're lining yourself up. The problem was you can't take out Hackett before you've let Rodgers play. Mm-hmm. So, and when it doesn't work, how quickly can you act? Saleh was already on borrowed time, really, wasn't he? He got away with last year because Rodgers was injured.
Probably,
If we're honest. So he was on borrowed time.
Yeah,
and then I think when you saw that interaction with the hug, the non-hug on the touchline, I don't think that Rodgers took Saleh seriously at all. I don't think he bought into his plan. Obviously, I think that in one of the press conferences, Saleh was talking about the cadence being off and people understanding Rodgers' way of playing and almost basically saying the penalties are on Aaron Rodgers. He's gone there to a broken franchise as the white hope, the white knight charging in on his steed. And that's what they've spent a fucking lot of money on.
Yeah.
So which one are they going to back? They're going to back the one that's won a Super Bowl and, has played for 15, 17 years or whatever it was in
4 MVPs
in Green Bay. Why would you just stick with Saleh when most people just think, he's done some good work on the defense with some good pieces, but he's done nothing, to drive the Jets forward.
Rodgers has denied that he is involved in the sacking.
Bullshit.
He also did say that. Yeah. So Woody rang me on Monday night, and we had a chat. And
also, what's wrong? For me, that's a big problem in the start because you've now gone through 2 people in terms of chain of command. You've skipped the general manager, you've skipped the head coach, and you're speaking directly to the owner.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers has been a good player back in his time. I don't think he is at the moment. I made the comment on Sunday in our WhatsApp group, Joe Flacco is greater than Aaron Rodgers at the moment.
Yes.
You can't argue with that based on Sunday's games. Rodgers hasn't got any experience as a GM or a head coach. He's a good quarterback. And the cadence thing, I get that. But I can also understand Rodgers has come from a team where it's been built around him for 10, 12, however many years, and people understand that cadence because they've almost grown up in it. He's what, 4 or 5 games into playing with this team. Understandably, they might not be able to get his probably quite complicated cadence.
And he looks terrified.
Yeah.
And broken.
He looks old.
He looks old and he looks like so scared. He does not want to get hit, does he? Aaron Rodgers basically just does not want to get hit.
Because he knows what's going to happen. He will break. because he's 39 years old and he's coming back from injuries.
There was that bit where he was on the side.
40?
He might be 40 now, yeah.
He's 40.
Yeah, because Flacco's 39.
There was a bit where he was crawling on the sideline. Like, crawling, because he was in so much pain. You're like, that... Just fuck off, guy, mate. Just...
But I guess
on enough money. Go
on
away.
the flip side, from the Jets organisation, they want to keep him, and he's got them over a barrel, because if he's fucked off, he's like, well, I'll just go and retire.
Yeah.
And then they're properly fucked.
Well, are they?
I don't know.
They're no better off this year than they were last year.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least last year they had a fucking coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Saleh, he's just a defensive coordinator, isn't he? So I do think he is a defensive coordinator.
I probably agree with that. So obviously the natural best thing to do next is then promote your defensive coordinator to be the head coach.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You can't give it to Hackett, can you?
No, because he's shit.
He's shit. His offense is shit.
Yeah.
So
he's a joke.
It would have no credibility, and it would just even more just make out like Rodgers is literally the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like, beginning of last season, as Rodgers was coming, before Rodgers came into the Jets, they got rid of McFleur, the previous offensive coordinator, to bring in Hackett to keep Rodgers happy.
I think we're seeing it, aren't we? With the younger defensive coordinators that get promoted, they're struggling.
Yeah.
I don't think you see the defensive coordinators come in and make a big enough difference to organisations. The young, fresh-thinking offensive coordinators that get promoted, most of them have done okay. Clinker-Nuts has obviously gone backwards, but he's doing okay again as a coordinator. He'll get another shot. I'm not sure as defensive coordinators you always get another shot.
No, I mean, that's fair. I liked a couple of programs did some emergency podcasts yesterday.
Yeah, I listened to the Heed the Call one.
Yeah, but the Pro Football Talk one, but it was just entitled "Dysfunctional Team Does Dysfunctional Thing."
Yeah.
And I think for me that the Jets are just a dysfunctional team. They have been. We've talked about franchises which are just terribly run. The Jets are one of them. 25 years that Woody Johnson's been the owner. They've missed out the playoffs in 19 of those years. It's been 13
How
years.
How many times have they sacked a coach mid-season?
They haven't.
Never.
No, they haven't.
That's how bad it is. Although, if they win against the Bills, what will they be?
Joint leaders.
Top of the division.
Yeah, they'll be top with the Bills.
Yeah.
They'll be top because they're head-to-head.
So, yeah, the whole thing just seems a bit weird, but also not weird because it's the Jets, and you can almost kind of say, yeah, but it's the Jets. And that's the get out.
And the Jets were also terrible in London.
Doesn't help.
They were bad offensively.
Yeah, but defensively they were all right.
Defensively they were fine. They really confused Darnold
especially in the second half.
In the second half. But
how many times has Rodgers thrown for 3 interceptions?
Never
in his career.
I don't think he has.
Twice.
6 times in his entire career.
I thought he'd never done it.
It was 6 times. But that's not bad out of the amount of games he's played.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just doesn't look. He doesn't look right.
No, and
underthrowing Mike Williams.
That's it. The last interceptions weren't great, but the last one was just an absolute Hollywood ball, and
they didn't need to do it though.
No.
Why do the London games? Because this one had a bit of drama, but they're always a bit ropey, aren't they?
Yeah,
we're going to come on to that.
Is that on the agenda?
Yeah, it's on the next page. If you turn the page.
I'm sorry, Griff. You're not here to keep me in check.
So I'm here.
No, it's
sorry. I didn't read that.
Admittedly, they were going to be a bit ropey this year because you have 2 good, very, very good defenses this year. I hate using the very, very, but very good defenses.
John, do you want to go out as well?
Yeah. So top players. Just the fucking worst. But yeah, no, really good defenses. And basically an old man and a quarterback who is basically now 6 good games into a career. Admittedly, and the 4 of those
2 have been so.
I like Darnold, but this was the Jets Darnold who was just. I don't know if he just got nervous about the whole thing and just thought, if I've got the ball after 2 seconds, I'm just going to chuck it at Jefferson. And it didn't work.
Neither team had a very good running game either, to be fair. The Vikings, 30 attempts, 82 yards.
They did lose Jones early.
They lost Jones early. But then the Jets, 14 attempts for 36 yards across Breece Hall and Braylon Allen.
Like, that's been awful.
It's been terrible.
Year. Like, when we were doing the fantasy drafts at the start of the year, I was amazed that Breece Hall was going as, well. As early. Like, when you looked at the average draft pick, he was going so
top
early.
10. Well,
and
top 5 in some places.
Breece Hall last year, but I didn't see him as like stellar, like Saquon level. I think he was like going before Saquon.
It absolutely was.
He
like,
was going.
Oh yeah,
he was going on.
He was
top
going
6,
going top 3.
Yeah, Saquon was going about 11th, and it was like who has watched football to come up with this? You know, I didn't really understand it, but the O-line's terrible though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's been terrible for years now.
Yep. Here you go. In our league. Not the just to be all and end all, but he went before Amon Brown, Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown. Like he went 6th.
Yeah, but that was the average draft pick he was going.
Yeah,
I don't know who picked him.
Allen or someone.
Yeah, but it was.
One sec, I'll tell you.
Drum roll, please. Hey, here's whilst he's looking at
Dunk.
Didn't expect that. Robert Saleh's first game in charge of the Jets. Lost to Sam Darnold when he was at the Panthers. In his last game, he's lost to Sam Darnold.
Bookended by Sam Darnold. I like that.
And the irony is he's the ex-Jets quarterback. All right, let's move on. Gary, you moaned about not having choices the last time you were on the show, so you can pick the game we talk about first.
All right, I'm going to pick a game that you probably think I'm going to avoid. I'm going to go for Cardinals 24, Niners 23.
Is this like, get
it out the way?
Eat your worst vegetable first on the roast dinner.
Rip the plaster off quickly. Do you know what, though? It was a great game.
It was.
Really good game.
For the neutral.
First time in 38 games where Shanahan's been up by 10 points or something in the last quarter that we haven't won.
Yeah.
So, fair enough, I suppose. It's going to happen sometimes. Still mad to watch fucking Kyler Murray go off on like the first fucking drive of the day for a 50-yard running touchdown.
But put his arm up to celebrate.
As he broke the line.
Yeah, exactly. He knew what was happening. He could obviously see in front of him there was nothing there to stop him, and he was gone.
No, he's an interesting player, isn't he, Kyler Murray? If you can get the best out of him, he is talented.
Yeah, he really is. He
talented.
has got a cannon for an arm. He is accurate and he can run around.
Yep.
Like the only thing against him is literally his height. Yep. You can't even say his stature because he is quite a stocky quarterback. Yep. You feel like he probably could get hit, unlike Bryce Young, who's short
he's like
and
a little
skinny.
barrel, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you can game plan around him for being able to see the throws, he is talented.
I think it's a really tight division, not a super division.
Nope.
I think that division has been
poor this year.
Yeah, I think it's been tight in the past because it's been so good. But it just seems really beaten up. Like, Debo looks like a shadow of himself. Like, it looks like he's done in San Fran.
The 49ers look tired, and it's only week 5.
Yeah. But all teams, like, apart from the Cardinals, who don't have much talent anyway, like, the Rams are beaten up, the Hawks are beaten up, and you're beaten up. And the Cardinals don't have much anyway, but have at least what they have is fit.
Yep, that's fair.
I think it is. I mean, it's one of the more interesting divisions for the exact opposite reasons why it's normally interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know who's going to go through in this one because you look like you can all beat each other, apart from the Niners, who are 0-3 in the division. But 0-2 in the division.
They've all got really strong spines when you actually look and you go look at the key pieces, and they all look really good. But the difference it makes to the Niners not having McCaffrey is just. It's just control of games, I would say. That's what we're lacking.
We haven't been able to close games out, have we?
No, and look, I think, Purdy looks good.
It looks amazing.
Purdy looks really good, but yet we're not getting wins. And I think it's clock management, all that stuff you get by having Christian McCaffrey is just, it's hard to get past that. I think they're hoping they're just going to stumble their way into the playoffs and bring him in later in the season.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Mason's done a good job. He's a different type of running back. He's kind of more that Marshawn Lynch beast mode type running back I've seen him compared to over the last week. But you're right. Purdy and the Shanahan system needs that kind of catching running back out of the backfield to really make it work. And whether they move Debo a bit more to have that type of role, possibly, because
he doesn't do that as much now, does he?
No, and also, like, Juwan Jennings is coming through as a good player and wide receiver. We've obviously got Ricky Purcell to come back, providing he can come back from his gunshot wound. The fact that he's not dead is a miracle.
Yeah.
So maybe that does free up Debo to have a slightly different role. I don't know, but
Ayuk was finally turned up this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
it was quite interesting because last week we did our power rankings and I did mine in 20 minutes in a hotel bar.
Yeah,
which is why the no, most of it was okay.
I was just going to mention just the Patriots bit. Showed.
I had the Patriots at 19 somehow. It's because I used last year's power list and just moved people up and down. So I didn't have time to write 32 teams out at the bar in the hotel because I was drinking. And
waiting for someone to come in wearing a rose.
Yeah.
so that is what it was. But I quite cheekily did put a couple of Easter eggs in there, which John didn't spot all of them. And one of them was that I put all the NFC West teams in a row because I could not choose out of them. So I had them all very mid-table.
That's fair at the moment, yeah.
But I purposely put them in order, in literally like Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams, Niners, all in a row, right bang in the middle of the power rankings because I just couldn't pick.
As soon as you pointed out to me, I was like, oh yeah. But also, it makes perfect sense.
Does make perfect sense because they are difficult to split up now, especially on this result. You're like, well, are the Niners we thought they were? I don't think so. Anyway, John, take us away with another pick. And if you don't go with the one I'm thinking of, then you're a disgrace.
Well, if it isn't Ravens Bengals, then what the fuck are we doing here?
A disgrace.
Giants. I thought you were going to go Giants win.
No.
All right, we'll go Ravens Bengals. That's fine.
Game of the weekend. 41-38.
To be fair, you are right. It's a crime it wasn't on prime time.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank God it wasn't because we got to watch it.
Exactly. And it was brilliant. You're watching it, and Lamar and Henry, they are brilliant. Like last year we did MVP of the week, and I think if it was MVP of the week, it's Henry. Even though he sort of started the game on fire, then disappeared, and then it's his run at the end that wins it. Gets Justin Tucker into field goal range. How are the Bengals I know because they didn't turn up for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But Burrow was brilliant. He's got 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions this year, and they're 1-4.
I think if you take away, all right, the first game against the Patriots was a loss. Then you're playing the Chiefs, and it's like, okay. And it was close loss. Then you got the Commanders who have turned up this year.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the year, you'll be looking at it going, okay, that's fine.
Obviously, you're looking at it now going, it's fine.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then obviously they've beaten the Panthers and lost to the Ravens who, well, for me, are Super Bowl favourites. I think
they're looking like the Ravens we thought they were going to be at the start of the season.
Who went Ravens Lions?
I had the Ravens in there. I can't remember who my NFC team
You went
was.
Ravens Lions. I think everyone else went Ravens.
Yeah.
Apart from me.
I went for a Ravens-Texans championship game, didn't I? That was my wild prediction, was that Texans would make the championship game.
That's not a far shout off. I heard, I was watching Good Morning Football this afternoon, obviously. I heard them call Derrick Henry going to the Ravens and playing with Lamar was like Shaquille O'Neal going to the Lakers with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I really love that comparison of like, actually, he's bringing out the best in Lamar. So I think this is the best I've seen Lamar play.
They're both massive.
Oh, yeah. But
yeah. But yeah.
Lamar's not quite as massive as Derrick Henry, maybe.
Yeah. But Lamar is playing better than last season when he won MVP.
Yeah. He's throwing it better.
He is.
He seems to have lost his tight ends. He found them slightly this week.
Mark Andrews showed up this week.
Finally.
Yeah.
Fucking finally. Killing me.
In a couple of leagues I'm in, he's a free agent.
The tight ends generally have been a nightmare.
Bad, yeah.
But I played against Griff this week, and I don't know if anyone noticed, I played a double tight end set.
Well,
fantasy.
the difference between the game of the weekend in our fantasy league was Tucker Kraft, the tight end.
Well, I've got Ferguson at the Cowboys, who is the only other thing they've got other than CD Lamb.
Fair.
And then I think I've got Kittle in that league.
You got 20
who also
points.
turned up.
But yeah, the Bengals on offense.
No, it's brilliant.
They're brilliant. They are going to have to score 45 points a game.
You're right.
Because they're going to concede 35 to 40
We
points.
said it, didn't we? The defense isn't good.
Yeah.
And isn't Hendrickson injured now?
Yeah.
They got a couple. I think they get a couple of the secondary guys back. Ooh. But yeah, like it's
great.
You need to be able to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that at all against Lamar. Now, granted, Lamar, like I said, he's playing the best he's ever played, and he is an elusive quarterback and difficult to sack. Next week, they've got the Giants in New York, a revitalised Giants, but you feel that if they can't...
They've got to win that. Well,
they have to. Otherwise, because whilst they're only 1-4, you can still make the argument, okay, Giants, Browns, Eagles, Raiders, Ravens again, Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys,
they could win
Titans,
the next 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly. You can still see them making a wild card.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the thing with the Bengals is, if they were 11-6 at the end of the year, I'd be like, it's fine. Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
expect.
that'd be bloody good if they're.
But it'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant now.
And
but
the Steelers and the Browns are not
great.
Not great at all. So they've got a chance of. I think the Steelers are competitive.
Steelers are grinding results out bar this week. But
but
it's not going to happen all season, is it? That's the thing.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, absolutely brilliant game. As well, there was the fact that Lamar nearly lost it at the end by they snapped it to him whilst he was clapping, didn't they? And almost lost it. It was. It's not unfair because generally games pan out thing, but it's the start of the season. The Ravens were taking early leads and losing them, and now they went 14 points behind twice, I think, in this game, and came back and won because the Bengals botched a kick at the end because the punter missed the ball and. Eventually, he got
one job.
Yeah. It
was a botched snap.
It was a botched snap. Well, the botched snap was fine. There was the botched catch, but that's just that's how tight those games are. It's fucking great. I love it.
T. Higgins was back.
Burrows
was didn't he have like a record game? It was 500 yards.
Well, the most touchdowns in his history, 5 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 193 yards.
There you go.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Burrow, 30 of 39 for 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 137.
I mean, you can't ask much more, can you?
He'll be pissed, won't he? If you're the quarterback, you're going to be pissed.
And then the good news to the Bengals is that they've shown they can do that against a really good team. So right. Well, I'm going to go to the game that I feel you should have picked. New York Giants 29, Seattle Seahawks 20. Probably the best game we've seen from Daniel Jones, maybe ever.
Definitely since the playoff season.
Definitely since in the last 2 years, then, shall we say. He was 23 for 34, 2 touchdowns, 257 yards, no interceptions. He was also running for 11 times for 38 yards. But the real star of the show, and I'm sure the hottest property on the waiver wire, Tyrone Tracy Jr., 18 carries for 129 yards. Never heard of him before.
Did you not want to pick up Cam Akers instead?
He's not available in every league, is he?
He was in a lot, though.
He is available in all my leagues, to be fair.
Anymore, he's not.
No. Admittedly, he's available because I dropped him 2 weeks ago because he got me 1.5 points.
Brutal, John, brutal.
Yeah, well, you don't win this by sentiment.
I like the fact we're discussing a few more fantasies.
It's good. It's good. We should. I mean, admittedly, Daniel Jones was... competent. Let's not say good. He was competent, and
I think maybe the stats aren't as good as Joe Burrow, for example.
No.
But I think when you watched him, he seemed to be just throwing it with more confidence.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
he didn't look like the Aaron Rodgers scaredness. He was just throwing the ball and getting it to receivers. And let's face it, this was without Neighbors as well. He was out. So Darius Slayton steps up, 8 receptions, 122 yards and a touchdown. Your next best receiver was Eric Gray.
Yeah.
And then Theo Johnson.
He's a tight end.
Okay.
Yeah. Admittedly, as well, like Neighbours is our best receiver. Singletary is our best runner. They're both injured, and then these guys come out. It's, every season it's the same thing. We had hope for Kadarius Toney. We had hope for Wan'Dale Robinson. We have hope for thing. It turns out a lot of the time it just goes through Darius Slayton. He's like just the new Sterling Shepard.
Yeah,
except he plays.
You feel like Tyrone Tracy. Okay, it's one game. Let's not overreact. But maybe he's that gem of a draft rookie running back that adds kind of more credence to the. You can pick a running back in any round.
There's especially because we were on Hard Knocks this year for our draft process. It was under a lot of scrutiny, especially because we lost Saquon, and that was also shown live, not live, but
more or less
shown on Hard Knocks. But actually, the draft business has been really great. Like the first four round players are all useful, and you haven't seen too much of the safety yet. The cornerbacks, when they appear, they look really good. And that front four of a defensive line. I was
going to say 7 sacks.
Yeah.
And Dexter Lawrence with 3 of them. He was destroying that offensive line.
He is the best defensive, nose tackle now.
Yeah.
Now
that Aaron Donald's gone. Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
As well, so we lost our first score because the refs didn't believe that we'd crossed the line, even though I thought they did. But I'm biased. And the Seahawks returned it for a 101-yard pick-up 6.
Yeah.
We then returned a blocked kick where Dexter Lawrence basically held the centre and the guard down so that Isaiah Simmons could jump over them without touching them.
Spoiler alert, that's my sweetest player of the week.
Oh, it was incredible. It's always brilliant to see, but the fact that Lawrence is so huge as a man that he just held 2 massive men down in a thick position.
It's like when you see, you get those like those high school football, or not even that, like the Pee Wee football clips, and there's one kid who's obviously much bigger than everyone else, and like running through players. That's how I think of Dexter Lawrence, but he's doing it in the NFL.
Massive people.
Sorry.
It's all right. You can fiddle with my.
Yeah, I'll fiddle with my. It's sorry, it was just moving so you could hear it. Now Thibodeau's gone in for surgery today. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I only saw that on the way over, but that
would be a real shame because, like you say, that front defensive line with Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns on the other side, who might not have kind of put up the stats I think you'd be expecting, but offensive lines need to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
And that gives space for everyone else. And
I mean, Burns and Tibbs aren't getting the stats but effectively it was Burns that sealed the game by just breaking through, taking down Geno Smith, who isn't playing badly, to be fair. I'm a Geno convert, but the Seahawks look after a promising start, they look beaten, absolutely knackered. And
there was another play which I was also tempted for my Sweetest Player of the Week. It was a run from Geno Smith, and that was lovely. It wasn't necessarily the run; it was the play acting from Jackson Smith.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he's just like looking up at the ball and looking to catch it. He takes 2 defenders with him, which just opens.
It's
up the
Seahawk trope. There, admittedly, it seems to be against the Giants because I saw DK Metcalf do it last year, and he took out 2 corners where then what's his face came in for the. I think Lockett caught the ball elsewhere. it is brilliant when it works.
Yeah.
It looks, but yeah, we do seem to be the most gullible team for it.
Right, Gary, move us on to the next game. Where are we going?
Okay. Well, he's not here, so he can't get too upset. But we'll talk very briefly, and I don't think we need to go too long into this game.
God.
But, I think we're only really talking about it because there's going to be a change off the back of it.
Yes.
So we'll go Patriots, Dolphins. But 2 points, really. One is, obviously, the Patriots, I don't know why I had them at 19th. Like I say, I'd had a couple. They're terrible. Absolutely terrible. Both sides of the ball. They probably still should have won this game somehow, really. Just rubbish. They're just rubbish. I know there's burning it down, but
So you mentioned the change. Obviously, they've announced that Drake May is going to come in at quarterback instead of Jacoby Brissett.
look at the excitement. The room is fizzing.
Do you know what? I'm always keen to see rookie quarterbacks play because in especially,
you never know, do you?
Well, especially the first round of quarterbacks, you see the college highlights. He looks amazing. I'm generally on the other side of the coin to Griff. I'm really positive about rookie quarterbacks, and yes, 9 times out of 10 they fail. This one, I'm excited to see Drake May play. He played brilliant in Carolina, but I just fear for his life. I fear he's going to get destroyed, and that's his career done.
I think compared to Brissett, he might get rid of the ball really quickly. It's not going to be fun to watch, but he might just, 1-2 seconds, just get the ball, chuck it out.
How's that going to help him?
Well, yeah, it's either going to lead to more interceptions because he's going to be throwing the ball waywardly, or just more incompletions. In which case, you're going 3 and out every single drive.
I know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but also you don't get better. You don't get better at football by not playing football.
Bring him in the last 4 games. Sit him. Unless Brissett gets broken, just bring him in the last 4 games.
Going into the season, I don't think anyone really expected the Patriots to be competitive.
No,
I think that's okay. I think that's fine. You know where you are as a team, and you accept that, and you build for the future, and you go, right, well, okay, we're probably going to have a top 10 draft pick. We can use that to bolster the offensive line. So the next season we can start Drake May with a bit more quality on that offensive line. Maybe we'll bring in a second or third round wide receiver. Maybe there's a free agent you bring in. You start building around that quarterback. You're going to throw him in now, and he's going to be Sam Darnold because he's going to get hit so often that he's just going to lose confidence. And he'll never regain that until he then probably leaves the Patriots. Like we've seen with Darnold, like we've seen with Geno Smith, like we've seen with Baker.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We'll see, won't we? Look, it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he'll turn it into something. And then the other one would be on the Dolphins is this big Mike McDaniels loving. Yeah. Where's that going now? Because you've still got Tyreek Hill. I know A-Chain got knocked out. Yeah, but you've still got Tyreek Hill. You've still got Waddle, who you just paid a fuckload of money to.
Still got Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, Mostert. Fucking, there's players everywhere.
Well, they turned it to the run this week. That's what they won this game on.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm with Gary here. I think what you're seeing from other coaches, LaFleur lost the quarterback he's just paid big money to, brought in Malik Willis, who looked appalling at the Titans, and built a game for him, and they won both those games. So technically they've been better this year with Willis than Love. Other coaches done that, like
even Shanahan when Garoppolo went down, got results out of really mediocre quarterbacks.
Well, Stefanski,
Purdy was like
out of nowhere. And
Zach Taylor got stuff out of fucking Jake Browning.
You're absolutely right. They can't. Tua's a good quarterback. But he's not.
How good is he?
But he's not I wouldn't class him as a great quarterback.
All you've got to do is get Tyreek Hill into space. 8 yards away.
Yes.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Mike McDaniels will tell me it's not quite as simple as that, Gary.
I'm sure he will.
And all this. But in essence, you need to try and get available players that can make plays. If If your quarterback can't make the plays, you've just got to
get them the ball.
Get the ball to the people who can.
Yeah, wide receiver screens.
It's just disappointing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And we've heard nothing about Tua at all. There's no...
They've got a bye week this week, haven't they?
There's no news. There's no nothing.
Can you see them? I mean...
Is Tua that important?
Well,
maybe he really is,
that,
you know?
But, Tyler Huntley's come in. He's not really done anything, has he? I can see them either trying to find another quarterback or trade for one, potentially. I think they kind of have to if they're serious about this season being...
Tannehill.
And
you could slot Tannehill.
You could put Tannehill in there. I think he would do a job.
Tua, isn't he?
Yeah. Just a distributor.
Yeah.
All you got to do is throw a 10-yard slant route.
I think it's just like, if I was Tyreek Hill, I'd be banging on the door going, what the fuck are we doing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm earning way too... I'm NFL number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 7 weeks ago, I was the best player in the fucking league. Now I'm chasing balls from Snoop Huntley.
Again, it's like people who picked McCaffrey in the draft, being told he'll be back week 1, must be fucking screwing,
Yeah.
They must be baying for Shanahan's blood, People who picked Hill at 2 or 3, to watch Tua just get beaten the fuck up, must just be thinking, what is wrong with my life? Yeah,
I'm both of those men. I've got 2 leagues on the NFL app. I've got McCaffrey on one, Hill on the other. But it's fine because on the other one, I also had Devon A-Chain.
One of my other leagues, I traded Devon A-Chain away for David Montgomery.
Oh, beautiful!
That's a good.
Yeah. Christ, that was lucky and.
You're next, John.
Oh, it's me.
I was going to say, John, you're next. Pick a game.
Should we head on over and open up the pedophiles?
Ooh.
Nice choice, John.
So
independently chosen.
I didn't hear you. I thought you said Chase, and I was like, I'm not going to pick the Raiders.
Do you know what? I actually invited Chase along tonight.
Oh, did you?
Because he needs to pick something up. And I said, well, we are podcasting, and you're welcome to join because we're 2 men down. So if you want to make a guest appearance, he declined that based on the amount of times we mentioned his sister.
What's wrong with his sister?
Nothing.
She's a upstanding woman.
Great for diversity.
Yeah. So the Colts almost lost this.
They did lose it.
Not the Colts. The Jags almost lost this. They let the Colts, was it 22 points in the final quarter? Mm-hmm. They are so bad. I mean, both these teams aren't great, but
Lawrence did go off to start with.
Do you know what? I was so close on our WhatsApp group to saying Lawrence looks fucking good this week, didn't he? And just then he threw an interception. And I was like, thank fuck I didn't say that.
Yeah, he did. He went off like 12 in 15.
He was looking brilliant. It was looking like the Lawrence we've always expected it. And then he threw into triple coverage and interception. I'm like, that's such a bad throw.
Yeah.
That was a rookie throw.
Thomas looks like he's going to be
good.
Top 2 or 3 running wide receivers in the draft.
What was it, like an 80-yard touchdown or something?
Yeah, 85, yeah.
Tank Bigsby might be running back number 1 now.
I've heard that Etienne's on the training block.
I think it's harsh because I do like Etienne.
I like
Etienne,
but realistically, he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
What's he actually done?
He's been bang average.
Yeah, I think that.
What is he, a 1,000-yard rusher?
Yeah.
I bet he's been 1,000-yard certainly from scrimmage.
I don't know about that.
I bet you he's up 1,200 yards from scrimmage.
He does have a shoulder issue, but Tank Bigsby, admittedly, who I was big on last year and got me some point of fuck all.
Yeah.
So I dropped him in my dynasty league.
Well, he ran him for a lovely touchdown this week, didn't he?
He did, 101 yards. They've picked up his 5th year. I'm just looking for his stats.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. If you include his catching.
So, he missed the first year, obviously, from injury. 2022, 1,125 plus 300 receiving yards. 2023, 1,008 yards plus 476. He's about 1,500 yards a season.
Bang average.
That's not bang average, is it? It's probably just above average.
All right, just above average. But when you're spending a first-round pick on a running back, you want it to be Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I know, but they're running backs. They get hurt.
Yeah, so don't use a first-round pick for him.
Well, a lot of people don't, do they?
No, exactly.
What did Bijan do?
Yeah, that was exactly my point. He's not doing much at all. And then we mentioned it earlier.
One of the Steelers.
He's
on one of my fantasy teams. I can't remember his name. He's so rubbish.
G. Harris.
Najee Harris.
Wasn't he the
fucking useless?
ETN was on their second pick, wasn't
it was
he?
the second first.
The Ramsey,
second pick,
the Ramsey one.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's almost like a free hit, that isn't it? Effectively.
No, it's not. You've got a first-round pick. Make the most of it.
Also, it was Urban Meyer.
Plus, he was like roommates with Lawrence in college, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They're like best buddies or whatever.
Great. Anyway.
Chase and Burrows, it's just the thing, isn't it, at the moment?
I do like him. I think he's... But yeah. Now, if you've got Bigsby, who looks like he can make plays.
He can tank, can't he?
He can. Well... but yeah, should we talk about Old Man Flacco? Because he was fucking brilliant.
Balling. He was great.
Yeah.
33 off 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Everything you want from a veteran quarterback who's been asked to step in and take over. I think Anthony Richardson, if he gets fit, should just sit behind him for another year.
He won't.
No, he won't, because Flacco can do just as well in this team as Anthony Richardson can, because he's a better quarterback. He's not a running back.
He could do so well at the Dolphins. Bombing it down to Waddle. Oh,
absolutely.
That'd be a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Flacco for a second Super Bowl. Fuck you, Rodgers.
Yeah, love it.
I love it.
I would love that.
You know, the only thing I don't like about Flacco is that he won a Super Bowl against the 49ers. Apart from that, I've always liked Flacco. I think he's brilliant. And he's just got such... Do you know what
he played amazing in that playoff?
Oh, he was brilliant.
And he had that defense.
Yeah, he had that defense. He's in a contract year, and he was perfect
that year. That postseason.
But also his demeanour, his leadership, it's the anti-Rodgers.
Yes.
You don't hear from Flacco in a negative way, or in teammates spouting off him, or coaches getting fired because of him. He just picks up the playbook.
Happy to
just gets on with it.
It's like when I finally get to play golf. I'm just happy to be on the golf course.
Just happy to be there.
And he's the same. I think he's just happy he can still play.
He's the oldest player to have 5 consecutive starts with 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is just flipping off Father Time.
I love the guy.
He's great.
Was that a Brett Favre joke that you slipped in there? Father Time.
No. We're not talking about Brett Favre because he's very litigious. Not that he's listening to this shit, but he's got enough issues.
No. All right.
Brilliant game. I think both teams' records are probably just about where they are actually. Like the Colts are going to be a lot of fun. They aren't going to be. I don't think this is going to be another Flacco playoff thing, but I do think the Jags. Effectively, they saved Pedersen's job because if they'd have lost, he might have got fired just before the London trips.
Well, look, he's off for 2 games in London. The Jags normally, because they come over for 2 games, they normally do okay in London.
They travel well.
They do travel. Well, they used to. They're
prepped
well-oiled machine when it comes to travelling over to here.
So they could get a bit of go forward.
Cool. Who they got first?
I don't know. Who is this week? Obviously, Patriots next week.
Patriots next week because I'm heading to that with
Griff.
Bears.
Yes, that's it. Patriots and Bears. They could win both of those.
They could
do.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take us to the next game. Probably the most exciting team in the league at the moment. Never thought I'd say this. The Washington Commanders.
Oh, they're brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
So they beat the shithouse Browns 34-13. James Winston did actually get on the field. He had 1 pass, 1 completion for 16 yards and had a better QBR rating than Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun Watson is shit.
But they've still said they're not going to swap.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into that because we've talked about that. That's not a Stefanski decision. That's a shit Jimmy Haslam decision. And they're just going to have to deal with it. But let's talk about Jaden Daniels because he is fast cementing himself as obviously offensive rookie of the year, without a doubt, providing he stays fit, but also MVP.
He's brilliant. He's been
awesome.
This was his first sort of shaky game since the first game of the season, and he was still brilliant. Like he got picked off this week, and there are some great bits to this Browns defense. The rest of what's around Garrett and
but the Commanders' defense.
Shit.
When you look at it on paper, it doesn't compare to the Browns' defense in terms of those names, but it's playing better.
They're well drilled.
You've got a few bits, haven't you? You've got the running game of the Commanders is really good.
Really good.
So that means that the defence is just not on the field as much. It makes such a difference to the defence if they're not getting knackered. We talk about it all the time. You know, Brian Robinson, like, what he looks like a great player, you know.
Yeah.
And then Eckler turned up a bit this week as well, out of nowhere.
Jeremy McNichols turned up this week as well.
And then you've got fucking Scary Terry with a quarterback who can throw the ball now.
Yeah.
And that, I mean...
Scary Terry, we were all fucking raving about 2 years, and then it all went quiet, didn't it? Like just because he was playing with shit quarterbacks.
But the long pass to Diami Brown, the touchdown, just so perfectly placed.
Yeah.
Like, it was a throw that you'd expect to see from a Stafford or a Flacco.
Yeah.
It was absolutely perfect. And I've always said about these types of quarterbacks who have got a running game to the aspect don't tend to be as good a passers. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, there's always been that pocket passing has always been an issue with him. You haven't got that with Jaden Daniels.
Do you not think he dances, though, a bit like Mahomes?
Does a little bit, yeah.
Rather than like Lamar, Cam, Josh Allen, they're a fucking hurdle over you, run through you.
Yeah, he doesn't run through players like
he's
Cam.
More of a kind of dance round you, get to the edge, find a bit of space,
and then goes.
Set your feet, and then throw. I don't know if he's quite as... he's not built like the others.
He's not built like a running back type quarterback.
No.
He is built more like Lamar Jackson.
Agility,
and he's got agility and he's got that speed. And when he does take off, he looks like Kyler Murray. Actually, that kind of speed finds the gap and he's through it. But he's just brilliant. I love watching him. Love him. And I actually quite like it for the Commanders because they've been such a shit team for so long.
Now he's gone, the owner.
Yeah.
That you can't.
I'm willing to get behind them.
I'm willing to give him a chance.
And there's a petition to get him turned back into the Redskins.
Yeah. And I'm not against that.
Because the tribe who their image never wanted it to go away. Because the Redskins used to support them with loads of like money and stuff for the community and stuff. They never actually wanted it to, like, it was people were being offended on their behalf.
Yeah.
You know, that classic of why we should not do things. So, bring the Redskins back. Although I did like your AI panda stuff, I have to admit.
That was good, wasn't it?
Epic, yeah. Especially the helmets.
The helmets were really good.
Yeah, no, but I still want to do that in the off-season. I still want to, let's have us rebrand the Washington. Someone can, Gary can say why they should be the Redskins. I've got me and Jamie worked one out when I was down in Brighton at the weekend of what we want to call them.
I don't even know what that's going to be.
It's going to be shit, but
something naughty.
No, of course not.
I think that should be the
Washington foreskin.
Yeah, exactly.
You were in
that needs to be on the rules. That it has to be acceptable by the majority.
Yeah, you've got to be able to sell it in Primark.
Cool. Let's do one more round and then we'll do a quick catch up of everything else. So Gary, give me one more game.
Well, that was quick.
Can I pick a game?
No,
it's Gary's turn.
Bucks Falcons.
That's the one I was going to pick anyway. I was just worried you might forget because it's Thursday.
Obviously, 509 yards for my second favourite quarterback, Kirk Cousins. No, he's not really, but I do think he is decent. If he's fit. Again, Bucks are just going to be close all year round, aren't they? I think the Bucks. They're going to be one of those teams that wins and loses loads of games by 7 points. But I think that, again, it's another division, isn't it? The NFC South that's just
a little bit all over the
isn't
place.
It always is, though, isn't it? You can never really pick it between...
I'd say it's always been a apart from the Brady years where in Tampa, it's always just been a bit shit.
Yeah, even with Drew Brees.
Even the Brady Super Bowl years. Like, remember, they
weren't
they
great.
scraped into the playoffs.
Just had an amazing defense in the
Yeah.
playoff time. And then when you got, when you had Matt Ryan, who was there for Matt Ryan Day to watch his all-time record get beaten by Cousins. So it was Matt Ryan Day. Didn't he go in like the Ring of Honor or whatever? And Cousins
turns up and is actually playing like Matt Ryan.
But you used to have, didn't you, Breeze, Ryan. It was still just a bit
Cam Newton,
but it was still just all a bit like, I'm still not sure out of these average teams, none of them ever did anything spectacular. But again, fun game, fucking primetime Kirk. I think we need to go back to clutch Kirk.
There's two things.
Monday night games, Thursday night games. What's going on?
Kirk Cousins is suddenly not afraid of the big lights, and also Thursday night football suddenly got good again.
Yeah.
Which is good because last year it was shit.
I mean, Monday Night Football,
Monday Night Football sometimes as well.
There's been some absolute stinkers,
and that can fuck off.
One game.
Like that. One game.
Although actually, based on this week, no games, please. Just put that on 6 o'clock on a thing.
Again, they've got some really good games.
Yeah, coming up
on the Sunday normal slot, which you're like, why isn't this in prime time?
Well, like my father-in-law, big Washington fan, he's waiting for them to be on Sky. He's like, they're just never on Sky. I said to him last weekend, I was like, you've got a good quarterback. You might be on TV.
Yeah.
I don't think he reckons they weren't on TV all last season for a whole game.
But that wouldn't shock me.
Year.
That wouldn't shock me.
Because they were just so terrible.
Yeah, they were. And the fact is that they're not
involved in anything.
They're not Los Angeles or New York or big markets.
Miami or anything.
Yeah. So they
were a massive market in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
80s, they were.
They were, one of the
the Bears.
Yeah,
they were
Cowboys.
NFL Blitz. But I mean, so a guy who for 3 weeks looked like he couldn't move, Kurt was brilliant.
I think he's now settled into this team, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
he'll be fitter, won't he, as well?
That's it,
exactly. He's getting fitter, he's getting more used to the players around him, and he'll get the best out of players like Drake London, who had an absolute storming game.
Yeah. And Mooney, for everyone's benches on fantasy, was brilliant.
Yep. Even Kyle Pitts managed to get 7 receptions.
Mate,
no reason why Kyle Pitts shouldn't be getting 7 receptions every week.
That should be like
this
minimum
low point. Yeah.
No, he's, but because I based on the week before, I was going to mention, if we had more time, saying is Kyle Pitts now just a bust? But
John,
I think he's going to be.
Griff's not here. We can fuck with the agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But he's seven
for you, John.
7
all
receptions.
The time in the world, mate.
7. Thank you, mate. Thanks, guys. My true mates. I think we're just going to find out that what he is a big bloke who's a little bit streaky, like his quarterback. At least he's the quarterback that he's got now is streaky rather than just permanently shit. No, great. All for it. I was big on the Falcons this year because I thought Kirk would help and Bijan would be fine. But if they're just going to chuck it to London and Mooney, or better, I think it's great.
Awesome. All right, pick the next one.
Rams 19, Packers 24. Not a great game, but for a team so beat up, I think the Rams quite unlucky not to get something from this.
They're just so well coached.
Yeah.
Same with all of the NFC West, isn't it? They're just good organisations with good spines. That's what I'm saying.
And just unlucky.
Yeah.
Well, they're not in the right zone at the moment to be really successful. I think this one's always good because it's LaFleur versus McVay. It's another one.
Well, it's LaFleur versus LaFleur.
Well, yeah.
LaFleur's the OC at He's been
now he's left the Jets.
Too shit for the Jets, so we'll go. Why don't you go to the LA Rams? It's what you want to see. It's LaFleur, McVay. It's admittedly not the most fluent of offensive games, but
fun defense.
Yeah, and McKinney.
Yeah.
5 straight interceptions, 5 straight games with an interception for the guy we couldn't keep. But it's fine.
You go fumble recovery, pick 6 to then return for a pick 6.
Yeah,
in this one game.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I always thought
he always was. Yeah,
I always thought he was brilliant for us. But
some nice throws from Jordan Love.
I was going to say,
it's a little bit scratchy.
I was going to say, is anyone a little bit worried about Jordan Love taking a little bit of a downward trend, or is it just coming back from injury?
Yeah. Back from injury. There were some nice throws. There were some bad throws. Yeah. The interception was appalling. But
look, I think it's what's interesting. This is sat him, played him, paid him. Yeah. So
yeah.
So this is the risk with the sitting them option, is that you're going to have to pay them quite early without a lot of sample size.
Say, you don't have much evidence with which to say, is he really
so he's
good?
already been paid. Ideally, you'd want him this year in a prove-it year, but you've already paid him. So it's just interesting to see how because he definitely played out of his skin last year, but now he's been paid. Purdy, trying to show off all his skills. How much are we going to pay Purdy at the end of this year?
$60 million a year.
It's going to be big.
Yeah.
It's going to be big.
It's going to set the market.
But what's Purdy going to do next year? What did Jimmy G do every time he needed a new contract?
Showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not injured anymore. I'm not fucking a porn star this year. I need to get paid.
But yeah,
not that those two things are remotely related, I'm sure.
But, hey, he's not very good, but he was handsome as fuck, was Jimmy G.
We can all do that.
Yeah. It's a shame for the Rams. I think personally, just because I think we're not wasting, but we're not making the most of the last years of Stafford. Seeing him play in a struggling team without any, no cup, no Nakua. Karen Williams was good running the ball, but he also had a fumble. It's
struggling offensive line. The defense isn't quite what it. Obviously, they're missing a massive part of the defense, but you can't replace Aaron Donald, but you can moneyball your way to replace that production.
Yeah, you have to. Replace him with multiple people, but it's a shame. They're two well-run teams. One are probably going to go far. The other, it's they're going to have to just get through to the end of the season, and then what they're going to do, because is Stafford going to want to hang around getting beat up? Are we going to have to see them rebuild again in Los Angeles?
Cool. All right. There are 3 other games I would like to talk about.
Go on.
So I'm going to start with, and the other 2 will be quick, but my official choice, Bills 20, Texans 23.
Yep.
Because, again, this is one of those games that wasn't in prime time, but absolutely should have been. It was a great game. We saw great quarterback play from CJ Stroud. We didn't really see that from Josh Allen.
No,
it was one of his worst games I think I've ever seen him play.
Injured Josh Allen.
Well, that's this is the guy that does
patterns.
He runs through people, over people, does amazingly. I don't know. He just puts his body on the line for this team, and I think it is starting to show.
Yeah. Was it 9 of 30?
9 from 30, 131 yards, a touchdown.
Like that's the stat line of someone concussed in the nicest possible way.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, he was concussed, surely. Like, he
looked
off.
Concussed.
He looked concussed.
Had some smelling salts and came back. He did not look good.
No. And admittedly, this is what Allen does every year. Like, he looks good, then he seems to lose his way for a couple of games, and then he finds it again.
Yeah.
This looks like the last 2 games have been pretty similar to the form that got the previous offensive coordinator fired. Joe Brady has had the job less than a year, hasn't he? I think
it is less than a year.
I think he had 6 games left by the time he took over. it didn't look good. What they need is a big game this weekend. Admittedly, I think they're playing the Jets, so
oh god, they're gonna love that.
Tough game. But yeah,
is it a tough game?
well, it is for that defense. That defense is good.
No,
the Bills.
Yeah, but the defensive coordinator is now doing a head coach job.
Yeah.
What effect is that going to have?
The Bills should beat the Jets.
Yeah,
absolutely.
the Bills should beat the Jets.
If they've got any aspirations of going deep into the playoffs, and if they don't, then I think I know Griff's on this one, but I think Sean McDermott's in trouble. If they've got no aspirations of going deep,
yeah. No,
if you're not going deep, there's not even any point.
What's the point?
Exactly. Just stay home. But yeah, they missed Shakir, who seems to be the only offensive weapon they have who can create any separation, which is worrying. That they have Allen, and actually the running game.
James Cook's looked good all season.
Isn't bad.
Like solid player.
But yeah, like
Is he going to have the Dalvin drop off though? That is because what happened to Dalvin Cook?
yeah.
He got one injury and
Dallas.
disappeared.
Yeah, he's now sat
He got the
behind-
Jets, wasn't he?
You got
He got
Hacketed.
Jets, yeah.
He got Hacketed.
He got Hacketed, and now he's at the
So
down.
good
He
at the
was so
Vikings.
good, so good.
Like Kamara went backwards. It was like Kamara when he had Alvin Kamara. And Kamara had a down year when Jim had him in fantasy. You didn't take him in fantasy and ruin him, did you, Jim?
Yeah.
The
Dalvin.
year he was shit.
Who had him? Oh, well,
I mean, I potentially might have picked him up.
Yeah, exactly. But Kamara built back up, didn't he? And he's back
Yeah,
to being Alvin
back-
Kamara.
yeah, absolutely.
But like Dalvin Cook was the same type of player when he catch him running. What the fuck ever happened to Dalvin Cook? I know we're talking about the Bills, but
He's in Dallas still.
no, but doing
practice
nothing.
squad.
Practice squad in Dallas, which
Like
is just incredible.
He's not as good as Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle, who had a career game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Over 100 yards total for Rico Dowdle.
I mean, that's a lot for a guy who makes Griff look tall.
How they fucking won that game, I still don't know.
What was like the whole thing with Allen throwing from the end zone right at the end? It was like,
The thing is, I think it wasn't. If you run it, they're just good. They had 3 timeouts, so all that happens is you're still going to punt it away, but instead of having 7 seconds, they'll probably have 30 seconds. So basically,
Or you might get the first down.
what you have is you probably shouldn't be using a concussed quarterback to try and throw it 10 yards. It was forcing it, and that Texans defense is too good for that. And there's many reasons to dislike what Sean McDermott's doing at the moment. That one I don't think is as bad as people are making it out to be. Like Bills fans are fucking furious online,
understandably too.
but
Because at the end of the day, that you can understand it from the Bills because they've got this mercurial quarterback.
yeah,
They've got a pretty solid defense still.
defense is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For the sum of their parts.
Yeah. But what they don't seem to have still, and okay, maybe they had it with Stefan Diggs, they don't seem to have reliable weapons for Josh Allen to throw to. Or either that, or he doesn't trust them enough, and he's not throwing to them, and he's running it instead.
Well, they don't have as good weapons, do they?
Yeah,
it's
that's
simple.
exactly it.
Yeah.
When Dawson Knox is like your second best target, and Dawson Knox is a perfectly good
He's
tight
a
end.
competent tight end, but yeah.
It's not a Stefan Diggs.
Nah.
And we thought the roster was going to be weaker, and they got off to an okay start, which we were like a bit surprised by. But how much of it was on Josh Allen? And then that's
All
what
of
we
it.
said, didn't we? A lot of it was on Josh Allen, just like when it was Russell Wilson at the Seahawks. Well, that does put a lot on him, and he starts running the ball too much. He'll turn into Cam at the Panthers if they're not careful.
Cool. I do want to move on to the Bears Panthers, but only because
Of the fight.
no, not that at all. I was going to say only because we had a listener write in.
Did we?
Brian has sent you a message, Gary, and you don't look at Discord, so I'm pretty sure you've not read this.
No.
Absolutely. So Brian commented, and he sent it to me and you as downers on the Bears. I think I've been pretty positive about the Bears.
Have I been a downer on the Bears?
Didn't think we've been that bad on the program.
I think I was a downer on Brian, slagging me off about fantasy every week.
But that's understandable.
I'm shit at auction.
I do think Brian doesn't know the difference between me and Gary. Yeah. Like I think for Irish listeners, we all just sound the same.
Sound the same. Brilliant. All right. So here's what Brian says: we are 3-2. Both losses were 1 scores and weren't chump scores to flatter. Expected to lose to Houston under lights on the road, but I'm disappointed by not beating Indianapolis at home with turnovers. I think we can beat Jacksonville this weekend for a respectable 4-2. Caleb and Waldron are growing a much better balance of attack, more production from the ground, getting DJ Moore in space. No coincidence either that our 3 wins are the 3 games that Allen played, Keenan Allen. Whilst his stats haven't been impressive, he creates space and threat. Williams to Moore torching Carolina was just sweet apple pie with a big dollop of cream.
I definitely did not read that. But I would just like to remind Brian that in our auction league, who picked up Caleb Williams?
He did.
I did.
Did you? He had him at one point, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he dropped him, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Dropped his own number 1.
No belief.
So don't talk to me about believing in the Bears, Brian.
Too emotional.
Take a look in the mirror, boy. So thanks, Brian. Appreciate that.
I thought this was really impressive from Williams.
This is Williams' best game so far.
DeAndre Swift looked really great. Yeah. It was the Panthers.
It was the Panthers. But the Bears have now won something like 8 games
in a row
at home, which is the longest streak in the NFL or something.
Ridiculous.
Which is mad.
Yeah. DJ Moore, I have to agree with Brian, DJ Moore looked great. And
DJ Moore
actually that
proper revenge game as well.
Yeah, that connection now between Caleb and DJ Moore could really set the scene. I like DeAndre Swift as well. The last 2 weeks, he's suddenly turned up.
And I think when we were kind of commenting on the Bears, really, what we were saying was the pieces look like they should have been better than they were showing us, you know?
Yep.
Not that they were horrific, not like they're the Jags or the Patriots or the Panthers. I don't think we were putting them in that kind of zone. I think it was just, there was high hopes and they weren't quite getting there. But it's early in the season, isn't it? It's
early in the career as well, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so
it's 5 games in. We can't judge.
Brian, if you're sad, I'm sorry. It'll be okay, Brian.
All right. We're not going to spend any time on these games because we don't want to. Raiders 18, Broncos 34. Looks like Gardner Minshew's out and Adrian O'Connell is in as starting quarterback. Understandable because I don't think what's his face likes Gardner Minshew. Antonio Pierce.
Admittedly,
I don't think the Raiders fans like Antonio Pierce very much either.
No, I would probably agree with you.
I can see why you drop you bench Minshew. So of course then you plug in O'Connell, and all he did was be worse.
Yeah, it's not going to make
Minshew's the better quarterback.
Minshew is the better quarterback.
He might not be what you want, but he's the best quarterback you've got.
Yeah,
but Bo Nix looks better than both of them. So,
and I love his little spat with.
Yeah, good.
I love that.
I think that's cool.
And actually, afterwards, Peyton came out and said that's great.
Yeah,
he did, but he also said he had to basically shut the fuck up as well.
Yeah,
he's got to. I think he said they've got to take the Bueller out, Ferris Bueller out.
Ferris Bueller out.
That little sort of twerp. But I like that because
I thought that was quite condescending from Peyton, actually.
Oh, shock horror.
I mean, yeah.
What do you mean shock horror?
He's a condescending.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at we compare it to some of the quarterbacks that have struggled. I mentioned it the other way, like that chutzpah that I think Knicks has compared to like Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. These really come across as just nice blokes, which is great, but you ain't going to win.
Cowboys 20, Steelers 17. Dak Prescott became the first person to throw a touchdown in the same game in 2 days. Because
of course, yeah, the
delay at midnight. Yeah,
who cares?
Well,
I still don't know
how they won that game.
No.
Like that, like it was an awful game, and then somehow they managed to put a drive together right at the end. Fair play to Dak.
But meh. And then Monday Night Football, New Orleans Saints 13, and the referees 26. Sorry, Chiefs 26. Obviously, the darlings of the NFL, they get every single call.
Bitches.
I know. Derek Carr out for weeks in inverted commas. So Jake Hayner took the reins for a little bit, but presuming Spencer Rattler steps in.
I assume so. I mean, the thing with the Saints is I find I really struggle to care, which is really awful. But
yeah, they are.
They were fun for 2 weeks, and then they just returned to being the Saints.
They returned to being what I fully expected them to be at the beginning of the season. And the Chiefs just keep playing badly and keep winning.
Yeah, I do think that every time I see it, I think that the fact that I can't see them doing the three-peat this year.
And yet they're beating every team.
And they have the best record in the league. Yeah. It's just one of those things. But yeah,
it's Andy Reid.
It's Andy Reid. It's Andy Reid.
He has no match. Andy Reid and Mahomes. There's no match for that.
And the defense is
good.
Is
still lights out.
Chris Jones, just is worth all the money that they can pay him. But yeah, they don't excite me anymore. Like the swashbuckling Chiefs of a few years ago are long gone, and
they're into all about winning, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it.
And that's fine, and that's what they're doing. Right, we'll take a break, and we'll be back in a minute. And we're back. Right, so we've gone through all the games and all the coaching firings, all of them. Yeah. First London game this weekend. I thought it was quite entertaining. Good to see one good team and the Jets. Griff's poses questions to us. What is the future for London games? How many countries have/want games? Will every team play an 18th game abroad soon? And then secondly, are the London games coach killers? Because it does seem to be a bit of a habit that when teams come over to London and maybe not doing well and get sacked on the plane back. It's happened a few times now.
Yeah. Is it just an indication of the sort of teams that we get?
Is it not because they're allowed to stipulate they have their bye week?
Yeah.
They get the option, don't they?
They can stipulate they have their bye week.
I think that definitely does add into
so it gives them time to make a change.
Yeah.
Just relax. Take it slowly, guys.
But let's start on again. Future of the London Games. I think that there's always been this question about, will there be a London franchise, or will it just be as we're going, where we get 3 to 4 games a year and we'll cycle through the teams? Will we still see a Jacksonville be a home team, for want of a better word, or is that going to stop?
How long was the Tottenham agreement? It was quite a long time.
I mean, they built the stadium purposely to
be able to
cater
roll pitches in and out.
cater for the NFL. So
I've seen a really cool film about how they roll the different pitches in and out.
What you do in your spare time is up to you, mate.
Man, honestly, it was really interesting. Like, literally, they lift it up and roll it out and drop it in.
Yeah, and to be fair, it is a good bit of tech.
Fuck you, man. Yeah. It was interesting.
All right. Like I said, what you do with your time is up to you.
NFL and Tottenham have an agreement that goes to 2030.
There you go. So
a long way, though. 5 years away now.
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be games here. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to put a franchise here.
I just don't think
they would have done it by now. I think it's been 20 years we've had games coming to the UK now.
It's just too far away, isn't it? It's like,
and it's
the time zone's too bad. It's just.
I'm quite happy about that, because maybe being in the UK, would there be an obligation for us to follow the team? Because they're our local team. I still like the 49ers. I've invested a lot of time, passion and tears into the 49ers.
Definitely tears.
But I think, so, we live near Milton Keynes. We have a franchise football team there. Which would be, and I occasionally will go down there and watch that.
I've been to the Dons a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah,
I don't support the Dons. In fact, I quite root against them some games. But I think that's the sort of relationship I would have with a UK franchise. I'm still going to probably turn up in a Giants t-shirt, and especially if it's anything to do with the Jags, I will actively root against them.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same. I've been lucky enough to go out to the States and watch a game, and it is not the same. It's not.
I saw something before the kickoff of the London game. Actually, it was a Vikings influencer, and he was. Have you ever heard of the Outernet in London? Big building. They've got big video screens on it. Yeah. Incredible piece of technology, great advertising opportunity, costs a lot of money to buy it. But it was like, this tailgate for the Vikings is brilliant. The Alternet's on Tottenham Court Road.
Yep.
Wembley is nowhere near Tottenham Court Road. That is not a tailgate, and like you say, definitely not in terms of how the Americans set it up. And they can't really do that at Tottenham. They haven't got the
noise
space.
isn't the same.
Yeah,
I think the noise is better at Tottenham than it is at Wembley.
It is. Yeah,
I definitely think
I really like the Tottenham Stadium. I think it's an amazing stadium, incredible facility. I don't like where it is in London in terms of getting to it. It's an absolute bitch to get to and from. But it does create an incredible atmosphere when you're there. Even when we were there a couple of years back and sitting right up in the gods, you felt like you were right in the middle of the crowd.
Well, they have built it to retain sound. It's like as stadiums go.
It's really
I've not been, but I hear it's like it's just as purpose built for everything as a stadium can be. But the only thing is that they didn't build the cheese room that they planned to, which is a shame.
The cheese room.
Apparently, they wanted a cheese room for
just to try and get the Packers to come over here.
No, it was for the.
So I think the Tottenham games will definitely stay.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about Wembley.
No, I think Wembley might have had its day.
I think it might be a couple more years of Wembley, but not much more.
I believe they're signed at Wembley until next year.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't heard anything about an agreement. They might have signed an agreement. I don't. But
I can see that one fizzling. And the problem is, it's always the Jags, isn't it? That is the,
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got Griff, who's a Patriots fan. This year, he gets to go and see the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think back in 2007 or 8, I got to go and see the Niners play at Wembley.
Yeah.
I've seen the Niners a couple of times. Seen them against the Broncos. And
it was the Broncos game, wasn't it?
And against the Jaguars
and
as well,
against the Jags. So we've got to see the Niners a few times.
Well, everyone's been here now, haven't they?
I think they have.
Packers were the last one holdouts, weren't they?
Have the Chiefs actually been here? I know they've been abroad because they played in Germany.
I think the Chiefs have been here, haven't they? With Alex Smith.
Potentially.
Back in the day, I think they
possibly remember. Which actually brings us to the next subject. Obviously, we've had 20-odd years of London games. We now get...
Yeah, in 2015, they beat the Lions 45-10.
Yeah. I'm pretty certain we were at that game.
I was going to say, actually, I think I was at that game. We've had games in Germany now.
Yep.
Couple of games. Mexico, Brazil this year. I kind of agree with the sentiment in Griff's question here about having every team will play that 18th game abroad, which would make logistical sense in terms of you still have your 8 home games, 8 away games, and then there's one neutral game you play abroad. I guess the question is, what other countries can we see taking it on? China has always been mentioned. Ireland's a good shout. They obviously host a couple of college games now, and they're starting to.
I've done for quite a few years now.
Always has a good atmosphere. Spain could be one. Obviously, redevelopment of the new camp and the Madrid and the Bernabeu.
Normally, any rugby playing nations, you have seen some players come across from the NRL and stuff.
Could we see Sydney?
You could take it to Sydney. So I think
you might be judged by the international pathway as well, by the people coming through.
Argentina,
as soon as
imagine it in Buenos Aires.
People would die.
South Africa,
literally die.
South Africa, I think, could be a really good shout as well. Actually, in Cape Town,
they're
the same kind of rugby sort of nation, but they've got a big support there.
Australia, New Zealand, anywhere that can legitimately hold.
But you're going to have to do them start or end of the season. Try and do that mid-season, even with a bye week, will be tough, I think.
Yeah.
Some of those really long journeys.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Going to Australia is going to be... It's like coming to the UK, it's 5 hours from the East Coast. But Australia is going to be 12 hours minimum from from the West Coast, effectively, isn't it? And that creates a problem. And you're going to have to take the bye week afterwards.
I don't know what time the games would actually be shown for thing, but basically, if you're on the West Coast, if you wanted to watch Vikings Jets,
you're getting up at 6 o'clock
half 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't feel sorry for them, John.
I don't feel sorry for them.
We've had to suffer that type of thing
exactly.
for years. We have to stay up late.
Yeah. But I could imagine if someone said to me,
they're lacking consideration of the British viewers. With their 2 Monday night games.
I know.
Fuck off.
Fuck that.
But if someone said to me, you can watch a Premier League game, but it's going to be at 2 in the morning, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to do that then.
Most Leeds fans would say that. How about a Championship game?
Ruthless.
Go fuck yourself.
Luton fans don't want to watch any football this year.
We're staying well away. I'm devoted to the NFL this year. And then, the coach killing aspect. I think you're right, because it's usually met with a bye week following. It's a good period to have a reset. And
although you say that, the Jets haven't taken their bye week.
No, I know.
It's too early in the season.
That's the first thing I checked, actually, when he got sacked. Oh, they must be on a bye week. Nope, they've got the Monday night game.
Yep.
All right, so they got a few extra days.
But
I think it's just because the games fall around kind of weeks 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. So in the middle of the
as
season.
well. So a lot of the time whether you are, as Griff would say, in contention. Yeah, for the playoffs.
Are you a contender?
Are you a contender? So I think we know, don't we? By the time you get towards the end of the London games, if the Jags lose both of those games, Pedersen is gone.
That's a really fair point.
So I think when you think about it like that, if you come back from those games and you're 2-5, then you're screwed, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what is the point? You're going to come back. You've probably got a bye week. You're halfway through your season. Like, what have you got to lose if you're at 2-5, or if you're at 1-6? What have you got to lose going into another 10 games?
Yeah.
So you've got 2 weeks to try and make something different,
make something happen.
So I think it's timing, not necessarily travelling to London. I would say.
Fair call. Completely agree. Sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got nothing to add.
Anything else we want to talk about London games?
No, just hope you boys enjoy it.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Even if it is the Jags v Patriots, I can't imagine it being a very good game whatsoever. I will look forward to it and
it's
enjoy
the atmosphere.
It's a nice day out.
Yeah. It's a good day out.
And you can,
with Griff and his partner.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you can
drink that one.
You can drink at your seat. Can't do that for the football.
You and Amy can just get fucking hammered, and Griff can drive you back from the train station.
There we go.
Because I was in Manchester the other week, and I did a tour of Old Trafford because the game I'd gone to watch had been cancelled.
Tour of Old Trafford I did by driving up there and getting to the cricket in the pissing rain.
Yeah, but
sounds similar though.
Yeah, it was rough weather that day. But yeah, I was in one of the boxes, and I was like, you've got. Well, at least you're on a tour. Like, I was in there for 3 minutes.
Sorry, John.
But I was like, that's a fully stocked bar, and they were like, yes, but the rules of English football
not allowed to watch it within sight of the pitch.
If you want to have a beer, the bloke goes like, you can have a beer, takes the cap off the beer, and then pulls your curtain down until you've finished it.
So what you do, me and James have both been to sporting events in a box, and what they normally advise you to do, John, is pour your beer into a coffee cup.
Yeah.
So you look like you're drinking a coffee. So you just stand on the outside balcony bit, just drinking beer out of your coffee cup, mate.
Yeah, but
that's
rules,
the official rules.
But it's
which nobody observes, because the people in those boxes pay too much money to give a shit about the rules.
They were told about the thing, but it was nice that you can go to the NFL games and have a beer watching a game.
Do you know the atmosphere is always
any
good?
Rugby game, can't you? It's just football hooligans.
Yeah, the atmosphere is always good at the games. Like, I think it genuinely is.
Apart from the smoking Germans that drive Griff over the edge.
Yeah, and then there's the Eagles fans as well. We didn't like, but apart from that.
Yeah,
some people do get a little bit.
I liked the Loudy. I like the Loudy England. The Eagles
sometimes
fans.
that's you and Chris. To be fair,
I've seen you and Chris absolutely fucking blotted.
Yeah, when you're wearing those
because
t-shirts,
it was fucking freezing that day.
When you got on that train, and we happened to be on that train, and we happened to be holding a pizza. I've never seen two grown men look so relieved.
I needed energy.
Please, can I have a slice of that pizza?
Oh, it was cold that day.
You were shaking.
It was so cold. Right. Okay, let's move on. Sweetest player of the week. I nominated mine, the Isaiah Simmons block and then return for a touchdown, mainly for Dexter Lawrence's actions. Any other takers? I know there's quite a few actually this week.
I'm going for the Kyler Murray run. I did like it.
I like that run as well, yeah.
Thomas, 85-yard touchdown for the Jags.
Wow. I'm just like, you sweetest play for the Jags.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want anyone to say I'm biased.
Well, John's out, so.
But it was brilliant.
I think we should go for one of those two defensive plays that happened within a minute of each other.
The Satane one.
The Satane one was great.
Yeah, I thought you were going to call that, John.
I was going to call the Satane one, but
if you'd have called that, I'd have voted for you. But because you didn't, I'm going to go with Jim.
Fine, go for the Giants.
All right, Isaiah Simmons.
I feel really harsh to be done there.
Must feel gutted. Right, Hall of Good. We missed it last week because no one's here. No one's here this week apart from three very important people, but we are going to go with it this week. We've got nominations in from Paul. Obviously, myself, John, and Gary will also nominate an O-Lineman this week. Griff will decide next week because he will listen to the podcast, so he'll be deciding next week who the winner is. Winner from the tight ends, and it was an obvious one, Julius Thomas, tight end. I know I can't disagree with that. It was a great pick, and as soon as you said it, I was like, fuck, that's winning. So well done, Gary.
What a fucker.
Right, we're going to nominate O-Linemen. I promise Gary can go first because he loves his pick. He's desperate to tell us. He's been desperate to tell us throughout this programme. And he also says he's got no backup. So if anyone else chooses it, he's fucked.
Exactly.
So, Gary, take it away.
So, I am going to go for the one and only wrecking ball machine, world's biggest arsehole, Richie Incognito.
Richie Incognito.
Brilliant.
So, I think he went to the Pro Bowl 4 times, just fucking bitched people around in the locker room, brought joy to our lives in terms of
absolute misery to others.
But like it was, you know, he was a character, wasn't he? You know, how many characters do you?
He was a C word.
Look, but he was a player.
He was a player.
He was a good player.
He made a difference on the teams he was on.
Yes, he did.
You know, and he was. Look, he was a horrid person in lots of ways, but he made an impact on the league, and he'll never go to the Hall of Fame, will he?
No,
absolutely
he's never getting into the Hall of Fame.
Never getting in the Hall of Fame, but he made a difference on the teams he played for. I think, you know, he was obviously not the sort of person you would take to meet your mum or something, but you know. In terms of...
Unless you want someone to call your mum a cunt.
But if you're in the trenches, if you're just looking for brute physicality...
And he likes you.
And an absolute animal, if you're a running back, as long as you don't have to talk to him, you would want to play with Richie Incognito.
As long as you wouldn't have to talk to him.
It's true, isn't it? It's true. He made an impact. We all know him. We all saw him destroy D-lines when we were watching the NFL over fucking like 13 years, watching him play. He's got some great stats that I don't have to give you. But look them up, you know. Griff, look them up for me. Richie Incognito, he made an impact. He should be in the Hall of Good because he'll never be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's my pick.
It's an inspired pick. And you're right, he will never be in the Hall of Fame because of the fact that he's an absolute arsehole. In some ways, that's good for an offensive lineman because you want a bit of a grit on that offensive line.
Fucking huge.
John, do you want to go next, or are you going to take on Paul's nomination?
I'll take on Paul, who sent me this one by text, so I don't have much of a... In fact, I'll tell you, he just sent me 4 lines. It is Croatian-German David Deal, who was a Giants tackle during their successful period, the 2 Super Bowls.
Paul picking Giants players every week.
No, I think this is his first Giant.
Is it?
I don't think he picked one for tight end.
He didn't pick a tight end, but he did a running back
that was...
Giant
for tight end.
Did you?
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 Super Bowls, second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl, basically as well. Not a chance of going into the Hall of Fame, but probably one of the more decorated tackles in the league. Played for a bit, but then had to retire via injury. But yeah, since moved on to he worked for Fox for a bit as an analyst and stuff like that. But yeah, a good player, and I think for both me and Paul, part of that O-line that tried to keep Eli up straight on our 2 Super Bowl appearances.
Fair. Like it.
My one
Go on then.
played against David Deal in those things. It's Matt Light, the Patriots offensive lineman.
Oh, you've gone for a Griff pick as well.
I've gone for a Griff pick.
Turning up to the judge. I'm not sure I like this.
Hey, mine was just like Griff being able to associate with that kind of man.
I think Griff's actually going to love that pick.
You know, it's the last time the Patriots O-line was good. But yeah, as well, in retirement, has a really great beard, which I think also Griff would enjoy.
Amazing. I also went back in time because that's my role in this podcast as a bit of a historian of the NFL. And I had to think about what are the most famous offensive line units there have been.
Must be a Cowboys one then.
No.
Oh.
There's not. Because I think there's an even more famous offensive line unit. No.
Oh. I was thinking of the Juice.
Going Redskins.
The Bills, yeah.
The Hogs.
Hogs.
The Hogs of the 1980s. So I went back and looked, so I was like, right, well, some of them must have got into the Hall of Fame, so I must be quite limited as to, but only one of the Hogs is in the Hall of Fame, Russ Grimm. So I was quite spoilt for choice. I went for Joe Jacoby. He's an offensive tackle. He was undrafted, 1981 draft, and he played from 81 to 1993, 3-time Super Bowl champion. He was a first-team Pro All-Selection. He was 4-time Pro Bowl selection and 3-time All-Pro. He played in 170 games. And he was just a stalwart part of that offensive line. For some reason, it's been completely neglected by Canton. I don't think it should be because I think it's the most famous offensive line unit. He blocked for the top 2 rushing totals in Super Bowl history as well in 13 seasons. So, yes, he's not from our era. We never saw him play. But look at the history of the Hogs and that kind of Redskin era of the early 80s. He is an absolute cement pole in that team. So that's mine, Joe Jacoby.
Good player.
Yeah.
Very good player. And they were an amazing team, that
absolutely. That Redskin team were awesome.
Sorry, can I just get you, what was his name again? I'm just
Joe Jacoby. Yeah. Jacoby.
Who was yours, Gary?
Richie Incognito.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Fucking who was it? I get it with Jibs.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about the winner here. Griff's going to purposely not let me win for that. But
no, he's not going to let you win too.
No,
he might do
because he'll hate the fact we can't talk about Richie Incognito for another year if he doesn't let it in.
That's a good point.
So Griff isn't here this week, obviously. So I'm going to take it as my turn to nominate a position for next week.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
So we're going to pick for next week. We're going to pick linebackers. Yes.
Yeah, I thought you'd go for him.
Yeah. Obviously, this is an audio thing, but Gary does have a particular shirt in my
bar.
In your bar. But yeah, Paul, you'll need to think of a linebacker for next week, and I think there'll be quite a few because
I might not pick him because I don't want to risk not getting him in.
No, that's fair.
So he might not be a first round pick. He might have to go for
anyone who's not in the room.
Yeah,
the famous shirt is of a famous 49ers linebacker who is not currently in the Hall and never been nominated.
Never been nominated. Cut his career a bit short, didn't he?
He did.
It's a bit early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
and went to the Raiders, didn't he? So no one likes that.
Only very briefly.
About 6 games, wasn't it?
Just because he didn't want to sell his house.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look at week 6. Week 6, yeah, that's right. We've got buys this week for Kansas, LA, Rams, Miami, and Minnesota, who obviously travelled back from London and did opt to take their bye week, but not sack their coach for good reason.
Yeah.
So, John, do you want to give me a game you're looking forward to this week? Strict orders, we're only allowed to pick 2 or 3 games.
Yes, put it in bold, didn't he? No, capitals.
Not every game.
Shouting at us on... I read that.
Well, I'm going to go for... Sorry, it's Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
It's one team who I think are playing better than their record, possibly, and another one who haven't yet kick-started their season. So it's the Seahawks, the 49ers. I think I really need to see the 49ers kick into gear soon. And I know the injuries they're having are bad, but the injuries the Seahawks are having are also bad.
Seattle don't like that.
Yeah, it's not normally a matchup that
it's not a great
favors San Francisco. I think it could be, but like literally last week they didn't do much against the Giants, but the Seahawks the week before were really, really good against the Lions. So can we have that sort of to and fro game? I'd really like to see.
Like it, Gary.
Well, I don't think there's loads of great games. There's a lot of divisional and tight matchups by the looks of things. The one that stands out for me by clearly the best game of the week is the Redskins versus the Ravens.
Commanders.
I don't care. The Redskins versus the Ravens.
That is, you're right. That's the game of the week.
By a mile. If that's not on Sky this week, then I will admit to my father-in-law that they might as well just get rid of his subscription, because that is by far
it's better than all the primetime games.
A great game.
Yeah, I can't wait to. You're right.
2 rushing quarterbacks, 2 confident teams. I think that could be a cracker.
It's on! Yay! Well done, Sky. You made a better decision than the American football primetime viewers. Obviously, they can't flex it because it's unflexible this time of year, isn't it?
No. Yeah.
Otherwise, it undoubtedly would have been. You're right. It doesn't actually leave much for me to choose from, because most of the other games are
the only other one I didn't mind
pretty
was
one-sided.
Packers Cardinals was the only other one I looked at. Could be a good fun game.
That could be a fun game. I am going to go for the London game though. Jags and Bears. 2 reasons. It's the 2 quarterbacks. I want to see what happens. Caleb Williams coming off his best game so far. I think the Bears are starting to click. The good defense, which they've carried on from last year, and that offense is starting to click. And I want to see what happens there. And can the Jags follow up? They've got their first win. They're coming back home to the UK, where they do actually do very well. They travel well. They're used to that journey now, and they're used to playing in London. It does favour them. That whole kind of strategy of coming to London for 2 weeks over the last few years has helped them out realistically. So I think that could be a good fun game. I will be supporting the Bears. Brian, you got my back in there, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, other than that, the games are pretty crap.
Some real utter turn. You could have a shootout. Depends on how they want to go about it. Bucks Saints could be a shootout.
Yeah.
But Carr potentially injured.
Yeah.
So then
he's out.
He's out.
He's out. Yeah.
So that won't be a shootout, will it? The rest of them are all just like Texans, New England.
Texans are obviously going to win that.
Chargers, Broncos. 15,
that's
12.
a toss-up, maybe.
Oh, exciting.
I mean, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas.
It's appalling, isn't it?
Oh, God.
But I also really like watching really bad football some weeks, and there's a lot of that.
There's going to be a lot of that.
What we need to see as well.
Bills Jets is important.
Bills Jets is important.
Reasons,
yeah.
But
Eagles as well need to return to some form.
We need to get back to it.
And AJ Brown is back this week.
And they're playing Cleveland. In Philadelphia. So that bodes well for them on all fronts.
So, but yeah, it's...
I think we've talked about too many games. Griff, just text me.
Oh, fuck it.
But it's not huge amount of excitement on the thing. But yeah, I think the 3 we went before originally will be the highlights.
Excellent. Right. Thank you, gentlemen. Anything else we want to cover? Last second entries into the podcast?
Nah, I think I'm done.
Great. Well, we'll be back next week to talk about that lovely slate of games. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.
Night.